Hello, you guys. How are you? I am Chi Chi, and I'm an independent consultant for Paparazzi. But today, I wanted to come to you guys. I always say that I like to be transparent, and sometimes, especially with me and my health, I sit at home a lot and I think about things um, and since I've joined Paparazzi, um, I've really been thinking about things. And one of the things that I wanted to say, and you'll probably see me looking down because sometimes I ramble and talk, and the things that I want to come across, I have to remind myself to say those things. But I wanted to come to you guys and ask you guys, are you ready for 2020? Do you want your 2019, your 2020 to be exactly like 2019? And I know for me, since I've been in paparazzi, I've always say that I've always wanted change. That has never changed. But do I implement it, or do I do it, or does it fall through? Do I get disappointed, or hurt because it didn't work? And I was one of those people that always threw myself out there to do out the box. But there was a point in my life when I was younger that I would do that, and when things didn't go right, I was so disappointed. I was hurt, and I always felt that I did the wrong thing, and not realizing now that I'm with paparazzi and I'm older and I've have had a chance to meet other people who have been successful in paparazzi and who I have heard their stories, makes me think and sit around and think that things happen for a reason. And I couldn't understand that before. I couldn't understand. I just thought it wasn't for me. It wasn't something that I needed to do. But I didn't know that the troubles were like a challenge for something better, And so I wanted to tell you guys, I worked for the government and the state in Virginia and in New York City. And I got laid off, and because I was the last one to come in, I was the last one to let go in 2009. Okay, and so when that happened, I had family members who said that they were disappointed in me because then I could no longer pay for my house, I could no longer pay for my apartment, and I was invited to Florida. And so it didn't make any sense for me to go and look. It didn't make any sense for me to go and look for somewhere else to go, an apartment, when I knew that the following month I was going to Florida. And so it got delayed a little bit longer because I went to the doctors and they found something on my breast. And so I had about 8 biopsies all at once. And it was the worst thing. I could tell you, I felt like I had just had a baby, but the pain was worse. And I remember this family member telling me that they were so disappointed in me, like if it was my fault that we got laid off. I don't know if you guys remember 2009. It was when everybody was getting laid off and people were dying because they couldn't help their family. There were men dying because they got laid off and they couldn't take care of their family. So it hurt. It hurt. And so because they said that, I looked at it as it was so bad because I've always done everything for myself. So how could you say you're disappointed in me because I got laid off and now I have to stay with you guys for a month or two, until I recuperate and I can drive. And so that made me, even while I had the bandages and everything, because I was so hurt that this person said that, it drove me to go out and look for something. And I had potential, but with the government, you have to wait 4 or 5 months for them to call you back. So I still decided to go to New York, to go to Florida. I packed up everything, did not care, and I just left. I just left. I didn't know where I was going. I just left because I didn't want to be no longer in this person's home. They even went down to telling me that they're moving to a smaller place, so none of that family member and any of the family members could ever come and ask to stay with them. So that was horrible when you expecting somebody, and then they said it to my child. They didn't know my child was there, and they said it, and she was so hurt that I just packed up everything and left in my car. Didn't know where I was going, and all I know is I was driving to Florida. It was 17 hours to drive to Florida where I was at. And so when I got there, I found a job the next day. So it wasn't a problem about finding a job. And so when I got there, it was horrible because I guess the family members that I was staying with until I got my apartment the following week invited me there. So, but their landlord didn't want me there. And it was a thing about, we think it's about race, but we're not sure, so I'm not really going to say that, but we automatically assumed it was that. And so, they couldn't wait a week. They told them if they didn't leave, if I didn't leave, they had to leave. So I wasn't going to do that to them, because they invited me into their home. So I packed up and left again. So now I'm driving to, this was 17 hours away. So then now I'm driving 6 hours somewhere in Florida because I didn't know what to do. We were in the car sleeping. We even slept in the beach. And at that time it was spring break. So you couldn't tell who was homeless and who wasn't because drunk kids and teenagers were in the pool, in the beach sleeping. So we were there sleeping for a while, and then we wash up in McDonald's, we wash up in different stores, and it was horrible. And I still had some money saved up, but I was trying to hold it because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I didn't know what I was doing. So I packed up and drove 6 hours away and wind up in my daughter's family member. And so I did that for a while, and that didn't work out so great either. So we wind up going into a shelter. Okay, so in this shelter, it was actually better because the living situation was so much better. We all had a room, we had a place to live, we had things, but of course it's not yours, it's not permanent, it's not temporary. You have to find a job. And I think I searched for 9 months. I was every day walking out and looking for a job every day. I'm telling you, every single day. And I didn't find any. And I was still going to church, and I was trying to find different church homes, and I was going to this church. I didn't like that one, and I would go to that one. It was so uncomfortable. I didn't feel like I had a church home. So finally I found some place where I felt like we fit in. And for months we were there, and they never knew that we were homeless because I never showed it. I was always smiling. And then we were taught, don't tell your business out to anybody, and so we kept it in. And I finally broke down and I told the person, and then she helped me with a job, and I was at that job for 3 years. Okay, and I got sick. And because I was homeless at the time, I got sick and got bit by a spider, but I still graduated. I maintained that, and I just kept moving forward. But all that to say that when I moved here, I felt horrible. I hated Florida. I didn't want to be in Florida. I thought it was the worst mistake I made. I felt like I disappointed my kids. I felt like what that person, that relative has said that they were disappointed in me. I kept hearing it back in the mind. I kept hearing it. So now I'm crying. I'm feeling depressed. I'm thinking I made a mistake. I don't know what I did. Why did I do this? And and so we always do things, and then when they don't turn out the way we want, we feel so bad. But then we're so busy consumed in all the negative that we don't think about it as a positive. So all that time I'm calling people, I hate it here, I should have never came here, why did I come here, and all this stuff, not knowing that now that I think back, and this is all because I'm saying I've heard stories from Paparazzi. Paparazzi has given me a chance to think. The trainings are wonderful. So what I'm saying is, now that I sit back and think, I feel that all the problems and the troubles that we go through, it's preparing us for something better, and it's making us stronger. So now, when things go wrong, like yesterday, I could barely walk. I'm telling you, I had to get shots in my back. And I went to the doctors. I was throwing up from the pain, the throwing up, the headaches. I could barely walk. I couldn't even take the baby with me if I wanted to. And it was like, I can't even describe it, okay? And so I would have been, oh, I don't feel good. I can't understand this. But now I'm thinking, you know what, Lord, I know that this is gonna pass too. This will pass. Hey, Tanera, how are you? And I know that this will pass too. But if you spoke to me before I joined Paparazzi, and before, because I'm the type that when I joined Paparazzi, I didn't start right away. I started doing research on everything, and how can I approach it? How can I do it? Because I've never done anything like this. This is new to me. I've owned my own business, but it didn't work out. So I was so afraid that nothing is going to work out. But now I stepped out the box and didn't even think about it, knowing that I have faith and I believe in God that everything is going to be for some reason. And if I don't, and I said, if there's a roadblock or there's something wrong, then I know that it's for me to fix it and continue and never give up. Okay, there has been, I'm telling you, I can honestly tell you that I started wanting to do it for the money, but right now it's more than just the money. It's a therapy for me being sick and knowing that I can still do something, because as you know, when you're sick and you're not able to go to work, you feel worthless, and that's how I felt. And then on top of that, I feel I look beautiful, so of course, you feel that way. So you stop doing stuff, because now you're going back to that being comfortable. And for me, now I look back at when I got laid off, and I feel that there's a meaning and a reason for why everything is happening. And I felt that when I got laid off, it was because I was comfortable and I was really feeling myself, because I was making $50 an hour as a mental health case manager, social worker. So, and I was making my own hours. I was self-employed, but I still had to go by what they said, and I still had to be at the person's house, and I still had to jot down how long I've been there. I had to do progress notes, and it was so stressful. I was so stressed. When I tell you stress, I don't know if you guys have ever done progress notes, but when it comes to mental health and dealing with a child and then Medicaid having to pay for it, there's so much details that you have to do. One client for 1 hour, I can honestly tell you that it would take me 3 hours just to write that progress note, because it had to be detailed. Because once you wrote that progress note, you turn it in to the CEO, and then they go through it, and you have that paper back with all red stuff, because now you have to correct it in order for Medicaid to pay for it. You have to put it the way they want you to. It was so stressful. And so I think that that's what made the layoff, that things happen for a purpose. And I was really feeling myself making $50 an hour, which I would get a check like $10,000 a month. So I really say, because I feel that because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to with that money, and I was stressing with the job, that things happen for a reason. That I was getting too comfortable. So something had to happen to show me that this is not where I belong. And it wasn't, because I was really, really, really stressed. Like, I would really cry. So that's what makes me think, now that I think back of it, I can't think of anything being so negative and just staying there. And this is what made me not want to go back into social services, because I was so stressed out before that I didn't want to do it anymore. So I say all this to say that we get discouraged. And then we stay in our comfortable spot. And that's another thing. I've been here 10 years in this apartment. I went through a fire, lost everything, lost my puppies, and that did it to me, you know. And I had to stay with a good friend, and I tell you, I thank God that this friend was there, because she helped me out as far as, and I had so many friends. I mean, you can't believe how many people came from 2 hours, 3 hours away, people here to bring us clothes, because we had nothing. And so, you know, when they told me to come back into the apartment, I came back. And the apartment was much nicer, because of course they fixed, excuse me guys, I want to sneeze but it's not coming out. Ooh, okay, my glasses almost fell. Thank you, mama. So yes, she's still up. We took a late nap because I had therapy, and it makes me tired, so she had to take a nap. And so I came back. It was much nicer. I got comfortable. I got comfortable for another 5 years. And I said to somebody a couple of months ago, I said, well, because they were complaining about the rent. And I said, you know what? Well, then I'm going to stay where I'm at, because I can't afford for my rent to go up. I can't afford for this, you know, all this to happen. And I thank God that my rent is so cheap that I can afford it. And, you know, and all of a sudden, last month, I get a letter, they're going to raise your rent. And see, any other time, now that I'm with Paparazzi, any other time, I would have said, I would have cried. I would have called everybody, my sister. And you know, it got to the point that I know people were tired of hearing me whine. And, you know, and I probably was draining everybody and didn't realize that I was draining people by just crying and telling, you know. And so this time I didn't do that. I didn't do that because I realized, I sat down and think about it. I need to move. This is not where I belong. I've owned a home before. So why am I sitting and settling just because I'm scared because this is cheap and I need to go out? Okay, I can't afford a place right now. I can't afford to buy a house. You know, they want $20,000 down. You know, a lot of people want to have a home and they can't have the home because they can't afford it or their credit's not right. And, you know, this has allowed me to fix my credit, which is wonderful. And so now I'm like, I have to step out that box. Okay, I might not be able to put the $20,000 down. Okay, fine. But there's got to be a way. How does everybody else do it? So I started researching. And I found companies and agencies, FHA and all this other stuff. But see, when I got my house before that, I didn't use any of that stuff because I was making money. So of course, I had to research all this stuff and find out. And they said, well, you have to have this amount of credit. But because my student loans were so much, I'm like, okay. So now I'm fixing my credit. Okay, all this to say that if I would have been in a different mindset before I got into paparazzi and before I did MLM, I would have been, okay, I don't know what to do. I'm stuck here. Okay, well, I guess I'm going to be homeless again. And that would have been me. And that would have been me settling. But now I said, okay, you telling me I got to fix my credit. Okay, so now I got to figure out how I'm going to get this credit done and how I'm going to fix this. All this to say, there has to be a change with you. You can't get disappointed. I mean, it's okay to be disappointed, but move on. Don't stick onto it. Move on. Because if I would have done that, I still be here and still thinking, yes, I'm still here, but I'm making plans for the change. Okay, I'm moving. I'm doing things that I need to do in order to make that change. So if you don't do that, you'll never get anywhere. Okay, and then we can't depend on other people or people who are saying that you can't do it because I was told I couldn't do it. Oh, you can't do it. They not gonna let you do it. And you know, it's so many things that you hear. You cannot let that happen. So in order for you to change something and not be in the same situation, in the same, you have to make that change. You have to get up and do something. They told me I couldn't do it because my credit was so bad. But you know what I did? Okay, that's fine. I understand. But I'm fixing it. And that's what I mean is that you have to realize that you're not going to change anything if you stay where you at. And just because you're comfortable doesn't mean you have to be uncomfortable for a better life to be comfortable later. And so to me, that's my change at this moment. I have to be uncomfortable in order to be comfortable later. So if it's sacrifices that I have to make, I will be making it because I had to sacrifice not having cable. Okay? I don't have cable. We watch TV, yes, but we have like Netflix, we have the free channel, and because I'm sacrificing for me to get something better or for a better tomorrow, so to me, it would. I really could say that paparazzi has opened my eyes. Paparazzi, because there's so many people that we think that don't go through what we're going through, but they do. But then they show you that there's better. There's better. So why sit around and complain about what you can't do when you can do it? Anything is possible. God didn't create us to suffer. We're supposed to be, we have a purpose. All of us, even if you don't know your purpose, find out what your purpose is. You know, you can't stay stuck. You have to make a decision. And then the decision, after you make that decision, you have to put it into action. And so those are the things that I say that even if you get disappointed, just keep going. Just keep going. Don't stay stuck. Keep going and you'll see that it's gonna get better, you know, and you grow in the process. And I feel and I can honestly say that I am growing in the process. And I was never a social media person to get on social media. And even now, I get a little nervous, but I'm getting so used to it and I'm getting comfortable and I'm having fun. But I had to do that and I had to see if I like it. But in order to do that, I had to try it. And boy, let me tell you, I made so many mistakes. When I first got on, I was with Trinity and we got on and we were dancing. But the girl didn't let me show no jewelry. She thought the jewelry was all hers. So it was a whole big mess. But I had to get out of that comfort zone in order to try it. And now I know that I had to practice with her, and not even practice, I just had to let her know, or even do it at a later date. Like now she's not all up here, but she's up, you know. So but it's not perfect. Nobody's perfect, but we have to practice. And so to me, I really want to tell you that if I never would have went into paparazzi, I would have never seen the change or realized that anything was wrong, or realized that I can't get disappointed out of everything, or realize that I have to get out of that little box. Okay. And I make a lot of sacrifices. They might not be big, but little small ones. Even if my sacrifice is I do my own hair. I don't go and get my hair done. I don't get my nails done. But that's my sacrifice that I'm doing in order to get something better. And I know later on I'll be able to do my hair and go and sit, but I'm but I'm putting it into action so I can be able to do that. So I can never say I never tried, I never did it. I think for me, honestly, I would be more disappointed that I never tried. I would be more disappointed that I never tried. And that's the same thing with my restaurant. I honestly, I opened up a restaurant for someone else. Okay, to help someone else so they can have an income, so they can be here and enjoy themselves here. Okay, and that didn't work out right because I stepped out the box, but I didn't get any research. I didn't get any information. But you know what? I don't feel bad because I tried it and I did what I had to do. And now if I had to do it again, I know what I have to do correct. Okay, so I can't say that I'm disappointed anymore because now I see that I shouldn't be disappointed. I shouldn't let people tell me they're disappointed in me, because at least I went out that box and did something that I wanted to try and that I liked, and a hobby of mine, which is cooking. I love cooking. So I'm okay with that. And I need to remember that what I like to do might not be what that person like to do, and they're just saying it because they don't see it. So all this to say, do not stay stuck. Let's not go into 2020 the same way that we did in 2019. If you're struggling, if you're suffering, if you don't like what you're doing now, if you don't like your life, if you're disappointed, if you're stuck and you're comfortable, because I've had so many people this last week that I spoke to. I had the one lady tell me that she was doing travel, and I said, "Oh, really? I do it too." And then I started telling her about the paparazzi. Of course, we got into talking about paparazzi because she saw my jewelry and she asked me, and I told her. She asked me for a card. I gave her a card. But the first thing that came out of her mouth was, "Well, he can't find a job, and I can't find a job. We living in a hotel, but we just came from a cruise." And so in my mind, I'm thinking sometimes we have to sacrifice in order to get stuff. So for me, I felt that you went on a cruise, but neither one of y'all have a job. You're living in a hotel. Do you see what's wrong here? Because you don't want to spend your money on something that might better your life, or better for you to be able to do something, since you're not working in your home and you already do the travel, but you went on a cruise. So to me, I think that some of us don't understand that sometimes all those things we have to sacrifice. And I've done it. I when I was younger, I would buy those pair of sneakers that came out before I did anything in my house, or pay the bill, and then I would call the bill collector and tell him I only have half right now. Can I pay the other half? Because I didn't use half to pay to buy something else that wasn't important, that wasn't needed, and it was just a want. So we want so many things, but sometimes we have to sit back and think about what is it that we really need. And I've seen it time and time again. I've seen so many people, they go out and buy. The one girl told me, oh, she can't do any of that stuff because she has to buy Christmas presents for her kids. Do you know that last year, no, the year before, I didn't buy anything for my kids. I didn't buy anything for my kids. There was nothing under the tree. There was nothing for Trini under the tree. Granted, she was young, but there's people out there buying for their newborns and for 9-month-old babies that don't even realize what's going on. Just now, she's realizing that Santa is going to come and bring her a tree. I didn't do her first birthday party either, because I felt that it was her first birthday party and she would not understand it. She won't remember it. So I'm going to do it when she understands that she can blow out the cake and there's cake and you sing happy birthday. And that's why I did her first one when she was 3. But that's because I did not want to spend my money, the little bit that I had at the time. I didn't want to spend that for something like that when the child can't even remember. So sometimes, we have to think what is beneficial for us. And so I see it time and time. I just spoke to somebody who went and bought a TV, bought a whole bunch of stuff, and now is saying they don't have enough to pay for the light bill. The phone bill got cut off. And I'm sitting here thinking, we all do it. We all do it. But when you become your own boss and you do something like Paparazzi, or just become you start realizing your mindset is different. And you start realizing that the stuff that you used to do before, it's no longer there because now you're trying to build a business in your dream. So you have to let those things, if you're really focused on your dream and trying to have that purpose of building something for your family, for you to be better, all that other stuff will go out the window. Would literally go out the window. There was times that I would pay my bills and that's all I had, and I couldn't go out and hang out, but I was okay with it because all my bills were paid. So your mindset starts going different. And that's what I love about doing this, because you talk to other people. And even if you have that little thought, because we still human, and you have that little thought like, oh, I might want this. You have somebody that you go into, and I'm always researching and I'm always listening to other people who have made it in paparazzi, and I listen to what they say, and then all of a sudden the light switches again. Nope, I can't do it because I'm trying to build an empire. I'm trying to build a business. I can't do it. And so that's what I like, because it's like a motivation, it's an inspiration, it's a reminder to put you on track. Because once you're on track and you do what you're supposed to do, then everything is so I love it. I love it. I can't say anything else about it. But I just wanted to come on and tell you, because as the months and the weeks and the days go, it just gets more confirmation and it gets more exciting. And every day we have a story that I can honestly tell you that it has been a beautiful ride so far. Okay, so I want to let you guys know there is a change. You guys can change. And if you want to start with me, because I have a new goal, and every day I have a goal, I have it written down. And if you guys want to start your goal with me, and we can do it together on 2020, and not even wait till 2020. Why wait till 2020 when you can do it tomorrow? So let's go and have fun and enjoy and start our career and our purpose and our change for the new year. Okay, so I am Chi Chi, an independent consultant for Paparazzi, where accessories are $5, nickel and lead free. Now you guys take it easy and have a good night.